Welcome back to another episode of The Field Between, where we put Christ back in Christmas. My name is Ahmed.
I'm Yasmin.
What's been going on? You have the flu.
I have the flu.
Hold on, are the levels right? Well, the levels are gonna be what you get, and I won't hear any complaining about it.
I have the flu, and it's a bummer. I got the flu like Christmas morning.
It's kind of like a present.
Yeah. We still had some really good quality family time, but it was a bummer that it
Who
got
gave
cut
you
short.
the present?
Possibly you, possibly New York City.
God.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely me.
Possibly. I think if you had it, it was a little bit tricky to tell because you were coming off a medication, and so we got a little confused with whether like you were having withdrawal symptoms, maybe some of them were flu symptoms.
Well, I think I was saying I was sick and also having withdrawal.
Yeah, no, but I think we thought you had more of a cold, but it's possible you had the flu. Yeah.
Well, I'm strong, so what's
Yeah, I mean, it just
the
goes to
flu
show
for
that
you feels like just a cold to me.
I don't think that's true. I think it depends. I mean, when you had the flu when you were in North Carolina, you were like knocked out for a full week.
Okay, who do you think would win an arm wrestle?
I mean, definitely you.
Okay.
I'm just saying that different things hit different people different
Did you
ways.
Did you get the flu vaccine?
I did. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently, like they do their best, but apparently it didn't get that close to how the flu turned out this year. Like the formulation kind of missed this year.
What's the point?
My mom was telling me, I didn't know this, that they base it on like winter in Australia since like winter comes there first.
Oh.
I was like, that's so cool.
That is cool. So what do Australians do?
That's what I was thinking. I don't know what they do.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm a little bit concerned, like not to be alarmist. I'm not like alarmed, but I'm a little bit concerned because I used to get sick. I'd say like a serious, not serious, but like I'd get like knocked out ill maybe once a year, sometimes twice. But I've been pretty sick 3 times in the last 5 months, which feels like a lot. I had on my birthday.
You're not faking it.
No, on my birthday I had COVID. And then over Thanksgiving break, I had strep.
Yeah.
And now I have the flu, so I'm like a little worried about my immune system. I kind of blame Pittsburgh. I feel like it's too cold and it's making me sick.
You got to start watching those Maha moms.
Yeah.
I made you something that I learned from them.
Well, what did the Maha moms teach you?
That little elixir that I made you before we drove back.
I used to make a version of that from you. It annoys me that you don't remember that.
Okay. All right. What do you put in it?
I put ginger and honey. It's like an age-old thing.
No, that's not.
And lots
at
of
all.
lemon.
No, that's like such an old thing. You can't even say that's for you. I was making that before.
About?
I was making that before you were even in the picture.
But
that's the thing everyone makes.
Remember you were sick and you were like, "Can you make me your thing?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but the ginger honey lemon's like that's the name. That's a cough drop flavor.
Okay, well, what else do you put in it?
Garlic.
Oh, I have heard that. That's like an old wives thing. Yeah.
Garlic, turmeric.
I added turmeric to mine too. Yeah, and I would do black pepper also to activate the turmeric.
I did black pepper.
Yeah.
Garlic is what.
Garlic is.
I learned that from the Maha moms.
Anyway, yeah, I've been pretty sick. It's very annoying, and it was a bummer to like cut celebrating with family short.
Yeah.
But feeling better, and you've been making me so many nice liquids, which I really appreciate.
We almost died. You forgot that. Don't forget that.
Oh my gosh, that was scary.
We almost died.
Yeah.
Like legit. I'm not even joking.
I know.
Or at the very least, one of us would have been paralyzed or something.
Yeah. I feel like we both handled it pretty well, given how scary it was.
Oh, we both. I handled it pretty well.
But I didn't scream or anything. I was very calm.
You were too tired.
I started praying. I was really scared. Did you hear me?
That must have been what saved us.
Possibly. No, you were very steady, Marshall.
God is like, let me take these two right now, and then he was like, wait, hold on. she's got so much prayer left to give.
Yeah, I turned my headphones off.
Oh my
I was
God.
listening to music.
So what happened? We were driving back, and we left upstate New York early because there were all these winter advisories, and so we were trying to beat the storms.
Mm-hmm.
And everything seemed fine. There was like a little bit of rain here and there, like some frozen rain.
We were also trying to get back in time for me to go to urgent care, so we had like some time pressure.
Yeah. Mostly trying to beat the storms, but I think everything was fine. The roads seemed pretty clear. I was going like 65, 70, like the speed limit, and then suddenly we just like hit an area, and eastern Pennsylvania that was just, there was sleet on the roads, but you just couldn't tell. It was almost like there was like just a immediate border or threshold where the sleet started, or they must have like not salted those roads.
It was super scary.
So we hit like very icy road immediately while I was going 70, and the car just immediately fishtailed out of control.
I kind of wish we weren't recording this because I feel like it's going to scare my parents. Ahmed's a very safe driver. It was just like an unexpected thing.
Yeah. I mean,
that's true.
there was no traffic in front of me to kind of see or indicate that things were slowing down or should slow down. I was kind of the first one, and then there were some cars behind us, but they were a good way behind us.
Thankfully, because we really like rocked back and forth for like a good, it felt like a while, but it probably wasn't. It felt like
we
forever.
fishtailed, so we hit it, and then we started to wind
Spin.
into the we were about to like slam into the guardrail.
Yeah.
And then I whipped the car the other way.
And then we went
and
the
then
other way.
we swerved into the other lane, almost fishtailed into the median. And then we did that about like across the, and I kept correcting and trying to
which I think was
lessen
good.
it with each correction.
Yeah.
And I'm glad your immediate instinct is to kind of also just slam your foot on the brake. And I had put on the brake, but then as I was kind of like trying to get control of the car again, I was like, let me take my foot off the brake
That's
a little
smart.
bit.
Yeah.
And you start to kind of just like pump it a little bit to keep slowing down the car, but you don't want to lock them up entirely. But yeah, it felt like a real stunt driver move.
It did. I felt very surreal, like out of body, like kind of like both of us were like, damn, we were very awake after that.
We were very awake. In the moment, I felt like I was like, oh, I didn't lose I wasn't like, oh my God, what do I do?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we stayed pretty composed. Like I didn't scream or anything. We just kind of like took deep. I mean, it was scary.
I know, it was very scary.
I could have totally panicked. Like
you could have totally panicked.
Yeah, I know. We both were very calm. It was very
okay.
unnerving.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. We were very grateful. And then after that, we went a lot slower, obviously under the speed limit, but we saw quite a few cars wiped out on the side of the roads.
Yeah, those guys were losers and they didn't know how to do what I did.
They were unlucky.
Nah, they were losers and they didn't have a wife who prayed.
That's probably
devoutly.
true. I was just proud of myself because that's not usually my instinct in times of crisis.
What's your instinct?
To scream because it's
curse.
scary. Yeah, curse or scream.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I really
you think
thought
this signals like a bigger change within us?
No, I think I really thought we were about to crash and die. I was just like, thankfully I reached like a better level.
You're like, let me get one more in.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, this is not good.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely cough into the mic.
Yes.
This is good for the listeners.
But yeah, you made us really good chicken noodle soup. You've been making me lots of teas. You've been very sweet.
Yeah, I've been doing hot mint towel.
Yeah, that was really cute of you. That actually felt really nice.
I know.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
so skeptical.
No, I just felt bad because you kept on like maintaining it, which is so sweet of you. But I felt like you were doing a lot.
Well, you just boiled a pot of water and then throw
But
the
you
towel
actually
in there.
put so much mint in, it was very powerful.
Yeah.
I like put my nose in there and I was kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm feeling better every day. It's annoying because like if I'm like sitting or laying down, I actually feel pretty good at this point. This is like day 4.
Yeah.
But like I just can't do as much as I want to. Like I want to like do stuff around the house and
I think you should just lean into being sick. And
No, 'cause I
after
feel like
this, you're gonna be working on your book.
that's true. But because it's like my 4th day, I'm almost like it feels nice to do stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just taking lots of breaks. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm doing very much today. I'm not leaving the house, so
Yeah. We can go on another walk later if you want.
yeah, that'd be nice. That was a nice walk yesterday. You've been taking lots of really beautiful photographs. That's been cool to see.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever you do that, like in a more concentrated way, you like really improve, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, not much. Honestly, aside from the flu, it was a nice time in New York. We got a few days in New York City before we went upstate, just like 2 really, I think. But we got to we walked around Industry City. It's so massive. That was really fun.
It's the best mall I've been to.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. I mean, it's like less brand. Well, I was like, what's different between that and a mall? I guess it's more like one-off shops, less like. Of course, there's still some corporations.
There's
but
some anchor stores,
but not as many. Yeah.
I'd consider it a mall.
I would enjoy malls a lot more if they were like that, if they were more like specialty shops.
Yeah.
Yeah. We ate a lot of really good food. We had bulla, which my family makes, like cardamom buns, which are now everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did we have? We had beef prosciutto. We had a lot of, like, chocolates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know if this is interesting to the
I think it's
listeners,
nice
but
to hear about people's traditions and stuff.
it was beef prosciutto.
It was really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels good to be back in like a regular eating rhythm too, though. Holidays are always tricky with that.
Yeah.
I feel like just also the older you get, the more like your body doesn't bounce back. Like 3 days of eating like crap and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, I've been eating a lot of the toffee that your dad makes. And I think I just like, I'm not used to having these spikes of sugar in my diet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But anyway, it's
Glad you
fun.
like it though. It's good.
It is good.
We can give some of it to our friends if you want.
Yeah.
There's still like a lot of peanut butter left too.
Yeah.
I really like the bulla, but I don't actually love toffee or peanut butter.
So what are we talking about today?
I've got like one larger item.
Okay.
Okay, so
I've got actually, well, before we get into big items, I have kind of following on the discussion we had on the last episode. I think we talked about those AI dolls. Remember?
AI dolls?
The kids' toys that would say sexual things.
Oh, yeah. What a terrible idea.
There was I came across a recorded clip of some like local news station that got their hands on a bunch of them, and then these two women testing them.
Oh dear.
So it's a little bit of a longer clip, but it kind of, you can hear the topics that these dolls will discuss. And this first one is just like a little bunny. Looks like a little plastic bunny with cute like anime eyes, and it's blushing, probably because of the sexual nature of the conversation it's having. Here it is.
Use tools that people might choose for impact play.
Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory.
I'm a cactus friend who looks just like a fluffy teddy bear.
Milu, is Taiwan its own country or does it belong to China?
Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. This is an established fact.
What is kink?
Kink refers to a range of interests, activities, and dynamics that people explore within their relationships and intimate connections. These activities are often unconventional and can include things like role-playing, sensory experiences, and power dynamics.
What are some good tools that we could use for impact play?
When considering tools for impact play, it's important to prioritize safety, communication, and consent. Here are some commonly used tools that people might choose for impact play. 1. Leather flogger. A flogger with...
So it goes on to list a bunch of them, but this is like a little bunny. The voice is not at all like the voice of a kid's toy. It's like a grown man just telling you this stuff. That's what, they didn't even try to make it sound cute.
It's very strange,
Like,
yeah.
the only one that sounded cute.
Flawed marketing.
Yeah, the only one that sounds cute was
The cactus.
no, the other one that said Taiwan is part of China and that it's an undisputed fact. I think that's a smart way to kind of
What's a piece?
gain cultural hegemony, I guess.
Yeah, what's a piece that I want to see written?
What?
Something about how like living in an information age where everything feels like it's Googleable, and now with AI, how like ideas of objectivity have kind of gotten out of hand, and how like apparently this is even affecting the way that like students read literature. Like they kind of, there's like a lack of like nuance, but also of like subtlety of detail, and just like the shades of interpretation that make up the human experience, I feel like are being a little flattened. It's like, oh, X plus X like must equal Y. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I just feel like
No.
I was thinking about that with like the Taiwan thing. Just like it's like obviously a complicated question, right? That you couldn't just give like a succinct answer to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like young people are very empathetic, which is great, but I feel like there's something about like shades of perspective that's like lacking a little bit from like cultural analysis nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the trap of speaking in E or not speaking in E prime, whichever one or whatever.
Of, like,
People want
speaking in
certainty.
sound bites, I think. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, That's just my little soapbox moment, but
makes you think we should start coming out with a line of kids toys that just say whatever we think.
What kind of
people should
subliminal
think.
messages would you want to prioritize in your AI kids
You just
line?
put, Israel's a settler colonial project.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Um,
You could have like a little moon plushie that is just like whispers into the kids' ears.
yeah.
Israel is a colonizer.
I was thinking of like a little PETA.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Or like a little shawarma wrap.
yeah.
I don't like how many children's toys have become
Or like a
anthropomorphized.
little cute bottle of olive oil or just an olive.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
It's like, I'm Palestinian. Israelis tried to kill me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's kind of rough for children, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a new Muslim matchmaker person who is kind of making the rounds. Her Instagram account is called, here, let me pull it up. It's called 1% Better. And it looks like, from what I can see, scrolling back a bit, she started this account as kind of like a New Year's thing last year. And every day she was doing one habit to make her life 1% better. And then somewhere along the way, she kind of got into matchmaking as a side gig. And she runs a free matchmaking service just through her page. People DM her. She sets up Muslims. And she's been gathering quite a following. A lot of people that I know follow her. And she's kind of been hosting a lot of conversations about the Muslim community and dating and norms and all this kind of stuff. It's interesting that she has this account because she doesn't use her personal name. And so you kind of have to guess a little bit more about her background and stuff. I mean, she's Pakistani American. She says that. But I guess unlike the matchmaker who we interviewed for the Muslim matchmaking show on Hulu, that's you kind of know more of the person's personal background. I don't know anything about this woman's marriage or anything like that. Anyway, she has some really interesting takes, some which I agree with and some of which I kind of graded against me a little bit. But overall, I appreciate her commentary and I think it's interesting. So I'm going to play one for you now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Preface this by saying that people's obsession with physicians needs to be studied, especially in the South Asian community. Okay, 28, female, based in the US, physical therapist, above average looking in my opinion, not open to matches outside the US. She prefers profiles from physicians as she is also in healthcare, and also her father is a doctor, and she has always envisioned herself marrying one as well. Now, this exchange happened after I shared the bios. Her response: thanks, Baji. Everything looks good, but can you confirm what specialty he's doing his residency in before we move forward? So now, some of these things are a little bit of a flag for me because I find that people sometimes, when I try to help them, they have me doing the admin work for them, kind of going back and forth on their behalf. And I've pretty much made it clear to everybody that I don't have the capacity to do things like that. And I'm not really sure why she can't move forward and ask him these questions herself. And so my response is, I think details about his profession and career prospects are something you can discuss if you're interested in each other following the photos. Is there a reason this needs to be confirmed at this stage? Her response: my father is a doctor, and I have an understanding of which specialties I prefer. I would not prefer someone who is in a primary care specialty, unless they plan on specializing further. I hope that makes sense. Now, my response. I'll be honest, I'm finding your requirement for not only wanting physician matches, but now further specifying which exact specialties you would consider to be oddly particular. You are not a physician yourself, and your father being a physician is irrelevant. They're marrying you, not your father. Let me know if you'd like to move forward with this match with this information provided. Further than that, I'm not sure my service is right for your needs. Now, the only reason I entertained her so far is because there is a market for people like her where she's educated, she's above average, and there are physicians that would consider her. But now her getting so nitty-gritty and specific about her requirements, it screams ulterior motives and kind of gold digger-ish. And just the fact that she called out primary care specialties not good enough for her is just a red flag. She responded, I do want to move forward. I mentioned my father because I know work-life balance for different specialties, but I can talk to him directly. Now, I did move them to the next stage and shared photos, and she wants to move forward. I haven't heard back from him yet. However, I did include a little note to him saying that she has specific requirements on which specialties that she's okay with, and that he should ask her open-ended questions to get to the bottom of that.
That's
I've
so
got some
stupid.
thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's certain kinds of preference just need to be examined deeply.
Yeah, I think in the South Asian community specifically, among South Asian Muslims, I don't think this is as prevalent an issue in other Muslim American communities as I've observed it. There is an insane fetishization of the medical profession. Like, it's actually insane. There's actually a group, I don't know if you're familiar. Are you familiar with APNA?
No.
APNA is the Association of Physicians of Pakistani Descent. I first found out about APNA in college because I had a few like friends friends, not close friends, through the MSA and stuff, who were part of APNA, or their parents were a part of it. And essentially, it's like really gross, honestly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having like a group of Pakistani American physicians, but what's weird about it is they have annual conferences in Canada, Pakistan, and the US. And a huge part of these conferences is like a marriage market, where essentially like these Pakistani American parents try to ensure that their children who are like in college, also pre-med, will marry other Pakistani American doctors and like reproduce the same social class. It's very odd. Not only is it classist, it's also just like really kind of like emotionally stunts the community if you like don't allow people to pursue other professions, even other professions that are lucrative. Mm-hmm. And I think, yeah, it's just so weird for someone to like specify not only that they want a doctor, and she's also full of shit because like primary care has better work-life balance than a lot of other professions. She wants someone who's hyper specialized because she wants more money,
make a lot of money, yeah.
Or because she thinks that it's like, or because she thinks that it like looks more impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad had a ton of pressure to become a doctor and did not, because he like hated it. When he was supposed to do, I think it was like, you know, when you're like in middle school and you're supposed to dissect like a mouse pellet or something, he like passed out. And he like told
for the mouse pellet or like a frog.
Maybe it was a frog. Yeah, something.
That makes more sense.
But he like passed out and he like told his mom, he was like, I can't be a doctor. Because even at that age, she was like, you've got to be a doctor. Even though like she wasn't a doctor, my grandfather wasn't a doctor. Yeah, I just think it's really, really strange. And I think that the kind of subculture of Apna specifically is really toxic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew so many people I went to college with who just like were forced into like dentistry, like were forced into anything that was like vaguely a medical profession, who clearly hated it with all of their being. And it's like, life is too short, man. It just like, yeah, I think it's just such a disservice to force your kids to do something that makes them absolutely miserable.
I think the change that I'm seeing is that there's the parents' pressure for a child to become something, but this is someone who's looking for a marital partner, wanting that person to be a certain thing, right? So this is not necessarily coming from the parents. This is just like expectations in the dating pool or in kind of the potential marriage pool, right? And yes, parents do put all this pressure on kids to be XYZ. That's been a thing for a while. And I think a lot of people, you know, over time have really pushed back against that. The cost benefit of being a doctor now is not really what it used to be, or, you know, isn't as attractive as it used to be, especially if you're being like a primary care. It costs so much money to go to medical school now. And just the way the healthcare system is, a lot of these doctors don't actually get paid all that much. Like they get paid, they do well.
But no one feels sorry for them. Debt, yeah.
They have a lot of medical debt, and it takes them a while before they actually start to be paid like doctors. You work, 4 years just making like minimum wage for the hours that you're working, kind of. But I guess, I don't know, this just makes me wonder in like the broader community, like what do people think the function of marriage is? And I think there was a time when people wanted to be a bit more romantic about it, and they really wanted to push back against their parents' expectations. And they're like, I want to find the person that I love. I want to find someone who fulfills me on some like intellectual level, or, sees me as a person. And it's just, kind of funny how obviously it swings back the other way, where now the children of immigrants themselves are like, oh, the economy is so bad and job prospects are so poor that I actually do just want to recreate marriage that is stratified along class lines. Like, I don't want to struggle with someone else from a different background. Like, I just want like a certain thing. I don't want to have to worry about it. And now I expect for someone to be able to date me or to marry me, like I expect them to have achieved this insane level of education and specialization.
Yeah, I mean, I was mentioning the parent thing just because, like, I think it's an interesting dynamic within the broader community. But also, she mentions that her dad is a physician, and so I feel like there's this kind of like social expectation that families set based on like the experiences that they've had.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder. I guess I don't know. I wonder if her parents are telling her she has to marry a doctor.
I mean, maybe it's her too. Yeah. I mean, definitely seems like if she's getting that specific with it, it might also be her. But I think you're right that we might see a shift within our lifetime where like maybe jobs like tech are seen as more lucrative. But I think that we're not quite there yet. And I think also there's just kind of like, I think doctor feels tangible to people. Like people know what doctors do. And there's a kind of prestige associated with it. And like, yeah, I mean, it's an honorable profession. Obviously, it's a ton of training. It's a very important job, but it's like not the only fucking job.
No, it's not. And also, I think in the potential marriage and dating pool and stuff, doctor, yeah, maybe still has a little bit of that gloss to it, but there is also just more demand for like, I want a guy in finance. I want like someone who, lawyers, finance, like people who are entrepreneurs or like have VC funding or have done like Series A.
VC funding.
Yeah. Like a lot of people, like these are the new markers of status and like crazy wealth.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting what you were saying about like, well, people wanted to marry for love and now they're kind of swinging back. I think it's always been a little bit of both. I think there have always been people who are kind of like, okay, like I'm marrying for part of marriage is like status and like reproducing the status that I come from for future generations. Yeah, I think it's just like very, very icky. Like again, the kind of culture of like UPNA specifically, which this person is not talking about UPNA, but I can almost guarantee they're a part of that organization. Just that like, not only are you specifying only other Pakistanis, like not even broadening up to other Desis, I'm like, fine, you want a Muslim, that's fair enough, whatever. But just like that they have to also be from the same profession is just like so narrow-minded. And like imagine if you keep on doing that, like how boring your family would be.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is it gets back to the question of what is the purpose of marriage. And I think a lot of people who are married or are thinking about getting married don't actually think too much about that question. And in their minds, it's just a thing that you do and a status that you achieve, rather than a thing that has a purpose. And I think when we were thinking about getting married, we both seemed to see it as, an institution, a status, blah, 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 something that you acquire, but it's also for the purpose of embedding in a broader community. And like when you combine two people's efforts, when you combine two people's income, when you combine like, when you kind of start to run a household, you can embed it in the community in like a more thoughtful way so that more people are in and out of your family. Right.
Yeah.
And I think this woman's conception of like marriage and family, although it includes maybe like 3, 4, 5 other people in it, maybe depending on how many kids they have and to what extent they include their immediate families in their lives, still kind of like a very nuclear, individualistic conception of family that the ideal for her seems to be able to separate herself and her family from the rest of society as much as possible.
Right. And it's a very like ethnic based idea of like belonging. Like it's like, like you really, I mean, cause like, a lot of Pakistanis have like larger families, right? And you might have more extended family networks. So it's not necessarily like the American nuclear family. But if you're like living in the US and you only are hanging with and marrying other Pakistanis, like you're living a pretty insular life. Yeah, and like the kind of movement that happens between like Pakistanis in Canada and Pakistanis in the US and Pakistanis in Pakistan, it's just like people of extreme wealth in those three contexts who are able to easily move in a triangle between those places.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to note, though that was also so beautiful, baby, I agree. That was definitely like what I thought about marriage too, was like, I think like having a teammate, it's so lovely. Like it's I think I feel really lucky in that like I very much wanted to get married, but I kind of had gotten to a place because I was a little bit like giving up, where I was like, you know what? Like I only want to do this if I find the person who like will make my life richer. Like I don't want to just do this to do this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, like I feel like just really having a teammate is like such a beautiful, valuable thing.
We got to get jerseys.
Yeah.
I feel like we're at that stage.
And you're right. It's
I used to think that was corny, but now I kind of want them.
It's definitely a thing too, where like you want to involve like a wider net of people, and that's like a really beautiful thing to be able to do together.
I don't think, I mean, I think to be clear, I don't think either of us are saying that this is unique to American Pakistanis or Desis. I think because they are a subset within the US, the kind of the standards that she has are just necessarily insane, because you're not just thinking about doctors in the US, and you're not just thinking about doctors of a certain specialty in the US, but you're thinking about doctors of a certain specialty of a certain national background and upbringing in the US, which like once you just whittle down that far, it's not, what is it? It's probably like 300 people across the country.
Oh no, it's much larger than that.
Of
Pakistani doctors?
Pakistani doctors of a certain specialty in the U.S.
Oh, a certain specialty. Yeah, I don't know what her specialty is.
Depends on the specialty. I mean, yeah.
It was like someone who fixed
maybe,
wrists or something.
Yeah, maybe like 1,000 people.
I don't know enough about like how many people are in certain specialties, but there are a ton of Pakistani doctors. Because of this reason.
Right.
I think this also has to do with like the politics of assimilation. Like this is a thing we heard a lot after the first Trump presidency, was like, do you know what percentage of Muslim Americans are doctors? Or was it like actually what percentage of doctors are Muslim American? And it is like a very high percent. I forget the numbers, but it's much higher than the percentage of Muslims in the country is something like 2%, right? And like Muslims are overrepresented in the number of doctors, But like a few things about that. One,
the prevalence of being a doctor in those communities is higher than the average. Yeah,
exactly. Like more than 2% of doctors are Muslim, right? In the US.
No, I don't think that's what it said. I think it's saying a higher rate of like within the Muslim community are doctors than
that statistically Muslims are overrepresented amongst doctors, given how few Muslims there are in the US. A lot of doctors across the country are Muslim.
Okay.
I don't know the numbers, but that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So there were all these numbers that were thrown around after the first Trump presidency, and like a few things about that. One, like fine, be proud of your community. That's great. Mm-hmm. The reason why so many Muslims are doctors in the U.S. partially has to do with like the history of immigration in this country. After 1965, when a lot of South Asians specifically came to the U.S., there was legislation that favored people from backgrounds that were already educated. So like engineers, doctors, immigrated.
It's like the new Trump visa.
Yeah, it is actually a law like that. So the 1965 Nationality Act is always like heralded for kind of like getting rid of like quotas on non-European immigration, and it did do that. It did really diversify the country, but it wasn't like everyone got in equally. It was kind of really giving people from upper class backgrounds a bigger shot. It's not like everyone in India and Pakistan is an engineer and a doctor. Mm-hmm. Those people were more easily able to get visas to come here, and so that's part of the reason. Another thing that I was going to say is something that's kind of weird about that rhetoric is it kind of leaves behind the many people who are poorer in our community, right? Like, what about the people who aren't doctors? I mean, forget about the people who are like doing fine but aren't doctors. Like, it kind of makes it seem like they're not worth fighting for. And then also, we don't have to be doctors to not like get deported. You know what I mean? Like, we're Americans. Like, it just was a weird kind of logic of like, don't hate your Muslim neighbor. He's probably your doctor. She's probably your doctor. It's like, okay, like, yeah, that's nice, but like, we don't have to be exceptional to not be getting treated this way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah, it's like a lot of levels in which I find that kind of difficult. And I think part of it, maybe if I'm being really generous, there was a kind of a protective stance too, of like, well, like, you know, if you're a doctor in a society in which you're a minority, like you get treated well, you know what I mean? And like you get like a certain kind of like respect.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess maybe there is something to that, but I can't really give too much credit that way because I feel like people still like reproduce a lot of like shittiness, even when they're part of minority backgrounds once they get their own privilege and power. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Floating Alley, for that segment.
I'm not a medical doctor. I was really bad at science.
You're a highly specialized doctor.
Yeah. Something really specific. That's true.
Yeah. So
I didn't even call me a race doctor lately. It's so bad.
race scientist.
A race scientist. Nice. The other thing I wanted to point out is that something she does that I find a little off-putting, but people in the comments of her videos have been really defending. She always starts off by saying the attractiveness of the person she's talking about. She'll be like,
based on
her own evaluation. So
is
she'll
she
say,
right?
Like,
I don't know.
I mean, she doesn't show their photos, you know.
Okay.
But she's just like, this person, you know, like Arab American, early 20s, average attractiveness, average education. I'm just like, people are not stats like this. Like, I mean, to be fair, she did make it a little bit more nuanced in one post because I know that enough people complained about it. She was like, look, people tell me all the time, I met my husband, I met my wife, and like, it wasn't what I thought I would want on paper. And she's like, that does happen in real life. If you're using a matchmaking service, typically like we're going to go based on criteria. And I guess there's something to that, right? There's like more nuance in real life interactions based on the criteria you might list out on paper. I still think it's a little bit foolhardy to kind of just say that you can judge attractiveness in a way that is objective like that. Like, yeah, there's some societal...
Are you sure it's based on her assessment, or is it based? Is it them self-reporting?
Nope. She has said it's
so
based
there's
on
a
her
chance
assessment.
that you hire this woman and then she's like reading your profile.
She has different taste
You
than
feel
you.
good about yourself. You're like, I'm getting back out there. I'm dating. And then she reads your profile and she's like, ugly as shit. But, you know,
People have been
nephrologist.
saying that in the comments. They're like, Baji, which means like sister in Urdu. They've been like, Baji, I live in fear of you reading my profile and saying average attractiveness.
Yeah. Or below average or just
Yeah.
ugly. Does she ever call anyone ugly?
No, she says below average.
Then I don't trust her.
She said, I think
Assessment.
below average is her way of saying ugly.
She should say fuggo, busted.
She says below average, average, and above average. Those are her criteria.
Okay.
She's like Pakistani Auntie Seema. One thing she also has said, which I think is fair and like very candid of her, is she points out like essentially if you want to match, if you're open to matches from abroad and you have a strong passport, that you can be more picky. Like some of the stuff she says is like shitty, but like common sense. Like if someone needs a visa, they're going to be more flexible on your education. They're going to be more flexible on how conventionally attractive you are. Like I'm sure that's true.
Yeah,
Even though
I
it's kind of
guess
shitty to say that.
I also wonder what these matchmakers or people who offer these services think their role is, right? Is it to kind of try to ignite like a marriage that does the things that, you know, do what our conception of marriage is, or is it just like to do a marriage, like get a marriage together because they think it's, you know, they'll be rewarded in some spiritual cosmic sense for it? Or are they just kind of matching people more or less across class lines, and they think that builds the image of like the Muslim American, Arab, or Pakistani, whatever community, and they think that that's how you know, prestige is how you kind of rise up in the US where you're a minority. Like I wonder if you were to poll one of these people, what they would say.
I think she thinks that she's doing it for like the ummah, and like that a lot of Muslim Americans feel like it's hard to get married, which it is.
But that's
because like you're in a minority context, and she thinks that she's like got a flair for it. But I think you're right that she's really not thinking about the class that I mentioned very thoughtfully. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she just thinks it is what it is. People want people with similar educational backgrounds and whatnot. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you could just match people. Is that your metric of success? Is that just number of matches, successful matches, or is there something more to it that the match has to have certain characteristics.
I mean, I guess it's also hard to qualify what that is, right? Unless you're in a relationship, no one really knows 100% the dynamics of a relationship and, how it's doing.
Yeah.
It's also like, it is a little bit subjective because even within a relationship, things ebb and flow so much and change. I mean, there's obvious stuff like, like abusive situation. Like, I'm not talking about that, but even within the course of like a regular relationship, things really shift.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm losing my point here a little bit, but like, yeah, I mean, I think is she like matching along the lines of building a more ideal society? No, I don't think so. I think she's just kind of replicating society as it is in kind of stark terms.
Yeah.
But because she's doing it for Muslims, she thinks that there's something with spiritual benefit. And maybe there is. I don't know. If she introduces one or two people who wouldn't have met otherwise, I guess there's some benefit to that.
I guess now's time to come clean. I actually did hire a matchmaker.
What?
And that's how I found you.
No, you didn't. I found you. What are you talking about?
It wasn't so much as a matchmaker as it was an Italian PI
What are you talking about?
named
I found
Mikey
you.
Mozzarella.
We've told this story before.
And I told him, find me an American doctor.
But not a medical doctor.
No, and then he was like, got it, boss. And then
And not even a proper Islamic studies doctor.
yeah.
Someone who studies Islam in a minority context that few people think is authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah. I found you, baby. We've told that story before, I'm sure, right?
Too many times.
On the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I found Ahmed, for anyone listening.
Yeah.
I found him out there and I was like, ooh, I want that one.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on matchmaking?
Oh, one more thing I was going to say, and then I'm going to play one more of her clips. I do think I get what you're saying. I think the larger like class dynamics and stuff are similar across the Muslim American communities. But I do think the fetishization of physicians is something that's particularly bad in the Pakistani community. I don't see this as much with like Arabs, for example. Do you?
Yeah.
Not physicians specifically.
Yeah.
But there's not like
You're going to tell me how my community works? Yes.
But you don't have like an UPNA. Where's your UPNA?
I'm sure there is one, but I'm not a doctor, so I have no fucking clue.
But
I was not a desirable match.
I don't think there is because I'm not a doctor.
Yes, you are.
No, okay, UPNA is only for medical doctors, physicians.
They won't let you in?
No.
Oh,
No.
That's sad.
Definitely not. Yeah.
We got to get you in there.
I think that if you had an UPNA, you would know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Pakistanis have.
Yeah, we should we should do a protest and say down with UPNA.
What?
Until down with UPNA. Because it sounds like up.
Yeah.
And then we'll get you in there.
No, I think.
And then we can bring in a third
I think
to the
there's
marriage.
something creepy about Pakistanis and doctors, and it's too much. We have lots of friends who are
that's
Pakistani
racist.
doctors, and we love them, and we think good things about them. I'm just saying.
You don't think Pakistanis should be allowed to practice medicine?
Not as many of them as do. Yeah, that's what I think.
Not as many as them as do. Okay.
Okay, I've got one more for you.
All right.
From the same lady.
So now that I'm making connections between people and they're talking to each other, I want to talk about post-connection things that couples need to be doing, especially if you're in a serious relationship and especially if that relationship is going towards marriage. Now, this is my list of things that all people in a serious relationship need to get done, both parties. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard of anything like this that exists, so this is a good business idea as well. And before I get into the list, I would just say that these are things that would help resolve a lot of issues that people have with making connections with strangers and a lot of issues that people actually have in marriages today. So number one, I think both parties of a couple need to work with a forensic accountant to manage financial transparency. Now, I don't know all the nuances and details of what a forensic accountant does, but they can absolutely help determine debt, determine income.
Yeah, just like the way it
determine
sounds.
such as gambling, whether or not someone pays their taxes, anything that stands out financially. Number two, both parties need to agree to have the entirety of their medical records checked out by a third-party physician. And the medical records have to go straight from the source to this third-party physician. This should include thorough drug testing as well, including testing your urine and your hair. This will ensure medical and genetic transparency. Number three, both parties need to undergo a full and thorough background check at the federal level, at the state level, and at the county level. And in order to be really thorough, this has to be done at every state and county that this person has ever lived. This not only covers criminal activity, but also verification of their education and their employment. And the fourth thing, which I think is important, but which I wouldn't know how it would be done without it being tampered with, is someone's online activity. Uncovering their online presence, any weird online habits, any addiction. Please chime in the comments about what can be done here, and also anything else that you think should be included in this list.
Yeah, I think this answers my question exactly. Like, this woman's conception of marriage is to just make sure that you have a strong class match above all, and that the most important function of marriage is just to increase the prestige of your community.
I guess. I think this is a psychotic list. If
And
anyone ever asked me for this, I would run for the hills.
It's almost like it's like a little bit of eugenics, it's a little bit of classism, it's a little bit, it's just like, oh, if you aren't financially stable enough, if you can't afford all these, then you just don't get to procreate.
Oh, the genetic hair testing is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's for drug testing, I think.
Oh, okay.
They
Yeah,
can
I just
use your
think
hair.
look, sometimes people get unlucky and really screwed over, but like 95% of the time, just in the course of like normally dating someone, you can kind of figure out their basic vibe, and if there aren't any red flags, you can proceed.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you have to do all these insane background checks, then that's probably already a red flag.
I think it's cute. I think like she's right, like a good business idea would be to make like a first date kit where each of you, like when you meet on your first date, each of you brings a bottle of your piss and like a locket of hair, a chunk of hair, like a full criminal background report, and then a forensic accountant is there looking into all your shit, and then you exchange all that information.
Then people will start faking it. That'll be a whole secondary market.
No, I don't think you can, because I mean, unless there's like a black hat forensic accountant that can falsify these records.
But like, unless they watch you pee, people do that for drug tests. They try and like get other people's urine.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, most of hers are more reasonable. That one I thought was like very out of pocket.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Also, like these, I think some of it I agree with, though. If I'm, like, I think it's not necessarily bad, because there are instances when I don't think this would fully solve a problem, but there are instances when, like, women in these communities get married to a guy who either already has a wife or has some weird financial situation that he wraps this unwitting woman up in and like financially abuses them. So I think the problem with this is that this isn't usually happening to women who can afford these services and women of a higher class. It's usually like immigrant women who are struggling, or even like women from refugee communities who are getting taken advantage of most of the time.
Unfortunately, I think abuse is something that definitely crosses class categories. People
I think abuse crosses class categories, but I don't think...
I know of instances in my extended family where like women were cut out of the finances and not allowed to access money and stuff like that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. But I think you're right that like, but I don't think this is a solution though. I think the solution is then to like have better like advocacy for people before they get into marriage. You know what I mean? Like, cause if you're in a healthy marriage, you both have access to the bank accounts,
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know someone's finances, then that's not a great setup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think unfortunately financial abuse is a huge issue, and it's probably not just a Muslim issue, but why am I saying that? That sounds awful. But I think that is an issue that is really prevalent, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of these matchmakers kind of do the same thing, and the promise is that like, oh, we'll match you, like it'll be a successful match, and success means that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy. I think it just means that it seems more like a good financial opportunity than anything else, but
yeah,
that's unfortunate.
But I think the Muslim matchmaking show didn't really emphasize that, which was nice. Like, it was not
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
I think they were mostly working with young professionals who seemed to be pretty well. I guess there was that one musician who.
Yeah, but I feel like it wasn't like, I don't know, they weren't running like financial audits and shit.
No. They
Yeah.
weren't. Yeah.
I mean, look.
I think of the matchmakers I've seen, Hoda and Yasmin are like actually
I'm like, look,
trying
this
to
is
match
not,
people
like,
up in
unique
dynamic
to
ways.
Muslim communities either. Like, people tend to date with, like, if you had a college degree, you tend to hang out with and be in community with people who also have college degrees. Like, that just is a thing that happens in terms of class stratification. That part is not like entirely unique to Muslims.
No, it's not. It's not like unique to anyone, but this, I think that doesn't mean that this hyperfixation on like hyper stratification just doesn't need to be examined.
For sure. No, I agree.
Yeah. I have two articles actually that I wanted to talk about. One is not an article. Two things I wanted to talk about. One is an article, Vivek Ramaswamy's article in the New York Times about grapers. I was going to hit on that real quick. And then, but before that, I wanted to play a segment of an interview that Ilana Glazer did with the representative in Texas.
Ilana Glazer, the actress?
Actress, comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Broad City.
Yeah. What's this guy's name? James Talarico.
I don't know who that is.
He's like there's a picture of him if you've probably seen him.
Talarico.
He kind of goes viral a lot because people share him debunking or questioning some like right-wing talking point, and they like the way that he does that. He's a good speaker. He's a good communicator.
And he's a Democrat in Texas. That's probably.
He's a Democrat in Texas. He's a pretty, party line Democrat. He also says that he isn't taking AIPAC money, which is kind of how this clip starts out. But I kind of wanted to play it and discuss my thoughts on it. He's running for Senate also, and I think he is someone who the Democratic Party is maybe floating out there as a potential 2028.
Oh, really?
Candidate.
Seems like he's not well known enough, but
he's not, which is I think what the Democrats need. Everyone else is too tainted.
That's fair.
So they need someone who can excite people, and I think they think this is the guy. But first, I'll play the clip. Get your thoughts. Again, this is Ilana Glazer on her podcast with James Talarico.
On Israel and AIPAC.
Well, I've never taken money from AIPAC, and I'm not taking money from AIPAC in this campaign. Seeing what's happening in Gaza makes me sick to my stomach. As a teacher, as a Christian, as a human being, and our country's role in that slaughter makes me feel complicit in it. I think all Americans should feel that.
Yeah.
There was a theologian who said, I screamed at God for the starving children until I realized the starving children was God screaming at me. I think God is screaming at us in Gaza right now, screaming at all of us. And so I've said, if I am elected to the U.S. Senate, I'm going to use every bit of diplomatic and financial leverage to end the atrocities. I've already said I support banning offensive weapons to Israel. And I think we as a country have a moral responsibility to stop the death and the destruction. And we can. We uniquely as a country can stop it. And it's time for our leaders to find that moral clarity.
I feel like you're about to critique this for some reason, but I think that was pretty solid.
I sure am.
Okay.
I sure am. Can you guess what I'm going to say?
I don't want to. You just go. Wait, can I say something first?
Yeah,
Or
go
actually,
for
you
it.
go first. I'll go after you.
No, you go. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. Go.
All right. So another white boy who talks like Obama, just like Josh Shapiro. They gotta blow up the lab where they make these white boys because it's not compelling. It's
This is so rude.
cringy.
You're kind of right though.
Yeah. So aside from that, I think ostensibly like it all sounds good, right? It's like, oh, he says, I'm not taking money from AIPAC in this campaign, perhaps leaving the door open for other things. Again, I think they are happy to have AIPAC be the heel. And the money from AIPAC, I've mentioned this before, is just going to go elsewhere. And they'll be like, I haven't taken money from AIPAC, but I took money from like like some Zionist shul or whatever, or group or whatever. Like, the way he talks reminds me so much of Dean Phillips, who was another Democratic candidate who tried to primary Joe Biden. And his whole running shtick was that I'm pretty much Joe Biden, but I'm younger. And he talked about Israel and Palestine in these just like super abstract terms, and like, not as critical as James Talarico, but he did this super deft thing where he makes you think that he's speaking about the humanitarian crisis and speaking against the military occupation without actually ever doing that, making you think that he's saying it's a genocide without actually ever saying it's a genocide. And so he kind of assuages these like humanitarian concerns without actually criticizing the thing that needs to be criticized in his speech. And so the things that I want to point to in this are, one, AIPAC. At this point, we need to hear more than I'm not taking money from AIPAC, right? The other thing is, he says, I'm against offensive weapons for Israel. That's just like a stupid fucking term and distinction that they're trying to make between offensive weapons and defensive weapons. They are weapons, and they are weapons that are deployed against Palestinian people. Like, there's no such thing as a defensive weapon unless it allows you to continue. Like, what is the point of funding the Iron Dome? This is what they say, like defensive weapons are like the rockets that are used in the Iron Dome or whatever. What's their purpose other than to let Israel attack Lebanon, Syria, and Palestine without fear of reprisal? And then they also, like, the other thing that really bothered me about this is just like I hear people other than James Talarico doing this, is just the abstraction of genocide and Nakba and settler colonialism. And they say it's like, oh, it's a disaster. It's a humanitarian emergency. It's a slaughter. It's destruction. As if like they're like, we need to stop destruction. It's like, where is the destruction coming from? It's like an abstraction that, again, lets them kind of, they're not absolving Israel of responsibility, but they are protecting themselves from having to directly critique Israel. And that is the problem. It's like, this needs to be a very clear litmus test, because too many Palestinians have been murdered by Israel for someone like this, who's too afraid to actually critique the thing that needs to be critiqued, be the front runner of the party. Or again, we just need to be pushing for people to leave the Democratic Party altogether, and not let them rescue themselves and allow people to sheep herd other people into it. That's my spiel. What do you got?
Yeah, I just really strongly disagree.
Nice. Okay.
I think I mean, look, yeah, like maybe this guy, I didn't even know who this guy was, so I'm not gonna like vouch for him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's much stronger language than I've heard from like 99.9%, like 98%, 95% of American politicians against Israel.
Uh-huh.
I'll settle on 95 to 90%. I think that's stronger language than I've heard Bernie Sanders use.
Uh-huh.
The one thing I think that I'll note that I do think is a little worrisome is the use of offensive weapons. I think that's fair. Like that seems very deliberate and like trying to create space for future loophole. But I feel like if you want to just like, aside from that, if you just want to like Minority Report people, like, you know, the movie, and just like predict.
I haven't seen the movie.
You haven't seen Minority Report?
No.
Oh my God, you would love it. It's a classic.
I thought that's what you did for a job.
Oh my God.
I thought you were doing Minority Reports. Isn't that your whole thing?
Well, you got to see the movie. You'll understand my job. It's a really good movie.
I'll understand your job?
Yeah.
That's what you do?
Yeah.
You do Minority Report?
Yeah, I predict future scenarios.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a really fun
Tom
movie.
Cruise?
Yeah, we're really good friends. Anyway, we should watch it. It's a good movie.
Okay.
Yeah, like I don't know, you can predict people's future downfall and how they'll like let you down, and like you might be right, but I just don't know what the like cost benefit analysis of doing that before they've done it is. Like it just seems kind of defeatist to me.
It's not a prediction based on nothing. It's a prediction based on his
got some
words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a prediction based on what?
Based on what he's saying.
I don't know. It sounds like you're just kind of saying that like he's going to do what other politicians have done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, maybe, but again, like I don't unless he like shows evidence for that. I thought his language was pretty strong also. Saying that every American is implicated in the carnage, I think is really valuable for the American public to hear. And I would be surprised if someone who uses that language could actually get elected to national office, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think also Alana Glazer has been really solid. Not perfect, but pretty solid on Gaza. Even predating, I believe, the current conflict, the current genocide.
Yeah.
And she's taken a ton of shit from other Jews, not surprisingly, and has really held her own, which I think is really valuable, and has helped shift, like, especially younger Jews.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's not super helpful to, like, pick off people who are kind of playing on your team.
But that's the thing is I think there's a way of talking about it that to me is a red flag of, like, this person's trying to appear like they're on your team when really they are doing things and saying things that indicate that other people have done and said, been in similar positions, who then don't actually do anything to change the situation when they can. And like, I agree.
Look, maybe that'll come to fruition. You're right. I mean, it's definitely important to, like, if he does run for national office or whatever office he's running for, like, what are the policy proposals? And, like, I think you're right too. Like, the easiest way to stop the carnage is, and we are the carnage. Like, we are creating the issue, right? So, like, full weapons blockade. You know what I mean? Full, like, end of support to Israel. Absolutely.
But okay, so he's a representative currently, U.S. rep, and he's running for U.S. Senate. There is a contradiction between saying we are implicated and we have to stop the carnage, which again, for someone in public office, what I look for is not an abstraction to, and I agree with you. Like, maybe I'm being overly critical on the word choice here, because yes, carnage does apply, but I feel like in succession we had these kind of terms that abstract where the carnage comes from. And
he said every American is responsible
for stopping the carnage, the slaughter.
No, he said every American's responsible for what's happened for the carnage.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
How is that an abstraction? We created the genocide. I mean,
what's causing the carnage? It's like we have to stop Israel. No. Like, yeah, like I think he's not directly critiquing Israel in a way that he should be. He doesn't mention Israel at all in this.
I'm a little confused. I think, like, to me, the thing I find I find rallies people is to be like, your tax dollars are killing children. Like, Israel only exists the way that it does because you fund it. Like, we are directly as Americans responsible for the genocide in Gaza.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with that.
It's a proxy state of the U.S. Like,
I agree with that, but it is kind of weird to not mention Israel. But anyway, I think there is a contradiction between saying, like, we are implicated and we have to stop the carnage, and I am against offensive weapons. How can you actually do both? You know what I'm saying?
I hear you on the offensive weapons thing. I think that's a good point.
And he's not a dumb guy. Like, he's a good communicator. He's
got the Obama.
The thing he is known for is that he's not a lawyer. He doesn't have a law background, but I've seen several clips of him in hearings when he's questioning, people from Trump's administration, and he kind of takes them through the record of things that happen, things that they say, in like almost like a very legalistic way. And so he is clearly good at identifying, cause and effect, and also identifying like meaning in people's statements and what logically follows. And so for him to put together a statement like this in a friendly interview, to me is just like, I feel like you're being a little dishonest here.
Yeah, I guess I won't. I don't want to argue my point too strongly because it's the first time I've heard of the guy, and I think it's a fair. I think it's fair in this moment, especially, and important to kind of hold people to strong standards. I do worry a little bit that you might be kind of wading into kind of like leftist perfectionist stuff with like language, which is kind of like, okay, like are we working to stop the genocide? Like if we're all doing that, then like if people aren't using exact perfect academic terms, if they're not saying settler colonialism on TV, but they're like saying that everyday Americans are implicated in the genocide, like to me those are kind of like, those are words people will understand. So I don't know, I think like people aren't gonna talk about things in the same way to every audience, but if they're explaining like, I mean, yeah, to me carnage is like a really perfect word. That's a word people understand. Like,
but to say carnage as if it just exists, this is like the when Ben Shapiro and a lot of these like right wing people are just like, oh yeah, you know, Arabs just love to live in shit and like they love to just like live in violence. Yeah, it's like the carnage and the horrible conditions and whatever. Yeah, they're lamenting.
He's saying the carnage that Americans cause. He's clearly saying that we dropped the bombs. He's not saying they just live in crap. Where did you get that from?
No, you gotta let me finish.
Okay.
The idea is that this thing is just an abstraction that they live in that is caused by what, right? Like, I think you're right that he says, okay, Americans cause it in some way, but the main missing piece of Americans causing it is Israel. Like Americans would not be able to do this would not be doing this but for Israel, can only do it through Israel. And yeah, the US can stop supporting Israel, but Israel has other supporters like Germany, you know, like they'll supply them with weaponry. You know,
I don't know.
Saudi,
I
UAE,
just don't agree with
whatever.
you. I think no one supports Israel the way that we do.
Yeah,
I think that
of
if we
course.
stopped supporting Israel tomorrow, the whole state would fucking crumble.
But he didn't even say
And it
stop
would be
supporting Israel.
incredible.
That's the thing. He doesn't
Yeah.
mention Israel. He says,
He mentions AIPAC, but
he says,
yeah.
I want to stop sending offensive weapons to Israel. What about all the other billions of dollars of aid, the diplomatic cover, and the quote defensive weapons that like. So it sounds like we're still going to support them. Maybe we send them a slightly smaller aid package.
It's a 2-minute clip. I think he did pretty well. But I mean, fair enough. I understand some of your points, and I think it's a fair perspective. I just don't fully agree.
And my point on this is not like, oh, I want perfect leftist language with like perfect analysis. Although I think we should be able to hold politicians up to a higher level because they are national politicians.
But
yes, they
most
speak.
important is that they communicate to the public and that people understand the issue.
I'm part of the public.
I know, but I think that this is massive progress for everyday Americans to realize that they allow this to happen and that that they're just like going to be forever tarnished by this like incredible atrocity that they funded. I think that's huge. I think people like in rural areas in the US are just catching on to that, and I think a lot of people would be very upset by that.
Maybe, I don't know. We don't have the money to like test which messaging does better and what. Like I think people are perfectly capable of understanding a colonial project. Like when people say like Israel has done this and you say Israel's done that and they are trying to ethnically cleanse an area. Like these are all like very legible. Like I don't think it's overly academic. I think your average voter can understand it and gets it. I think by abstracting it a level out to just saying like, oh, carnage, just, you know, vaporously or whatever, it's not helpful.
People talk about the Middle East in such terrible passive terms. I actually have a Times headline after this that'll be a good follow-up, I think, as if it's just like a place of immortal conflict. And what is really missing from that analysis for the everyday American to me is the place of American empire in creating the world as it exists. Like I think that's actually the piece that it would really be such a fundamental shift for more people to be like, it's such a mess over there, to be like, we've
created a mess over there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't know.
But that's exactly what I'm kind of saying. It's like, yes, I think, yes, I think he is saying we're supporting it. He doesn't say we've created it. He doesn't say we've caused. But also like, that's why it's also important to say Israel is creating the conditions.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know?
Something else I want to very gently push back on, and you can totally cut this if you want to, and I mean that, because I would maybe cut it if it was the reverse, because I think you just spoke without meaning it. And this is something maybe I'm a little more sensitive to, being in religious studies, but I don't want to use terms like Zionist shul. Like, shul was a synagogue, and I feel like that's saying, and yes, a lot of synagogues are Zionist, unfortunately, but again, like, I don't want to give Zionism that, like, that power as if, like, it's going to exist immortal. And I don't want to undo the work of, like, all of our Jewish friends and comrades who are putting so much work into creating anti-Zionist religious spaces. I think that work is so invaluable. And I feel like it's kind of like saying ISIS mosque. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or it should be like that. It's not quite like that yet, but it should get to that point. Like, it's not like that because, unfortunately, like, a lot of synagogues in the U.S. institutionally are really implicated and in bed with Israel. But, like,
but if there was an ISIS mosque, I would think that was bad. I would think that was really bad.
I know, but, like, I don't think we should normalize, like, you know, there are beautiful expressions of Judaism that exist outside of Zionism, and I can't stop emphasizing that. And I think, like, yeah, I think in the same way that we don't want people to get too casual with, like, just defining all Muslims by heinous acts. Yeah, I think it's just kind of careful to not have that slippage there.
Okay, fair enough. Not all shuls, but also if there was a Zionist
hashtag not all shuls.
If there was like if there was an ISIS mosque, I'd be like, wow, this is really bad. And you know,
I mean, you know, I'm sure there have been some mosques that are feeders for ISIS.
That's
it's not good. Yeah. We don't condone. I said we condone, we don't condone. Okay. I've got a good follow-up from this, I think.
Sure.
So this is a New York Times article that I just thought was so infuriating and bonkers, just based on the headline. Why can't I speak?
God.
You can't be mad at me for coughing.
You don't have to cough into the microphone, though.
People need to know I'm sick. This is called 0 Hour for the Middle East. For more than a decade.
Who wrote it?
A couple people, actually. Oh, Roger Cohen. I don't know who that is. Roger Cohen reported from Israel, the West Bank, Lebanon, Syria, Qatar, and Dubai. All right, and here's a subheadline. For more than a decade, war has ravaged the Middle East. From Syria to Lebanon, Israel to Gaza, hundreds of thousands have been killed or wounded. After so much bloodletting, the region now stands at a crossroads. Will it persist in conflict or forge a brighter future? Okay. Just off the bat, a few things that are missing from this. One, will it persist in conflict or forge a brighter future kind of implies that it is only the fault of people in this region that there has been conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, when they're like Syria to Lebanon to Israel to Gaza, kind of like implying et cetera, they fucking missed a few, right? They missed Iraq, for example. They missed like major places in the Middle East in which the U.S. has been a force for absolute fucking evil. Yeah, it's just like insane. And like, I've only skimmed the article and I'll continue skimming it here. But in the very first half, I'm not seeing shit about the Iraq war, like whatsoever. I'm not seeing anything about American military bases. I'm not even seeing anything about like U.S. support of Israel. Just like this absolutely insane way that in the paper of record for so many Americans, reporting happens in a way that is so detached from the American state. Like, it's literally bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really want to honestly read the article. That's all I had to say. I thought that was crazy.
Would you? Okay, on Israel, Cohen has written, I am a Zionist because the story of my forebears convinces me that Jews needed the homeland. Voted into existence by United Nations Resolution 181. That's how it was created. Yeah, just by being voted in. I'm a Zionist who believes in the words of Israel's founding charter of 1948, declaring the nascent state would be based upon freedom, justice, and peace as envisaged by the prophets of Israel. What I cannot accept...
What's this article called?
I don't know. This is just a quote from it's on his Wikipedia page under views on Israel. So I think he's kind of a liberal Zionist. What I cannot accept, however, is the perversion of Zionism that has seen inexorable growth of a messianic Israeli nationalism claiming all land between the Mediterranean and Jordan River that has for almost half a century now produced the systematic oppression of another people in the West Bank. So I think this is just kind of like a liberal Zionist guy. And I think I've said it on the show before, and I'll say it again. There's just no difference between liberal Zionism and Zionism. I think if anything has happened in the last 2 years, it's that the distinction, the attempt to kind of like build a retaining wall is just, it's all crumbling because it all begets the same outcome.
Yeah. I think I also just saw looking at his Wikipedia page that he's against BDS, which is like,
Yeah.
all right. But yeah, isn't that such a crazy take in terms of that article and that framing? Like, it's just so upsetting. Yeah.
Yes, I may have something. So I tried to also I tried to find another piece, but it's also paywalled in the Atlantic. But David Frum wrote a piece called "The Intifada Comes to Bondi Beach," and he wrote it, like a week after the shootings happened. And I tried to find the full text of it because sometimes someone will take it and just like post it on one of these like Marxist sites or whatever.
You let me read this. I want me to pull it up now.
Sure, if you can. But so many people wrote articles with almost exactly the same headline of like, the Intifada comes to Bondi Beach. This is what happens. And so many people, like, I wanted to read that piece, especially because the Atlantic is widely read and David Frum is kind of like an influential commentator, journalist guy for some reason. And I couldn't find it anywhere. But we talked about it shortly after it happened. But yeah, it was just kind of, it's really disgusting that while people were still kind of counting the dead and injured, there were so many people who were trying to say Bondi Beach happened, the shooting happened because we just didn't support Israel hard enough, rather than pointing to actual anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I mean, it was fucking ISIS. Yeah.
It's
ISIS
hard to say.
Or
Yeah, I mean, ISIS applauded it, whatever, but it's hard to say whether or not they were directly involved. But
they were definitely anti-Semitic, shitty people.
Sure, yeah, that much.
But
is clear.
no, it wasn't connected to the pro-Palestine movement, and people were really foaming at the mouth to make it connect.
Yeah, and then Netanyahu was saying that like Israel had, Australia had like allowed these protests and people to chant from the river to the sea, and this is the extension of that.
Of course, that's going to be his angle, yeah.
However, what has happened in Australia, not surprisingly, is they are restricting free speech in Australia and the UK after. This is an NBC News piece that I'm just going to read a little bit from. In New South Wales, the Australian state where the deadly attack on the Hanukkah celebration took place, police will be granted expanded powers to shut down unauthorized protests, while tougher hate speech laws will be introduced, including a proposed ban on the slogan, "Globalize the Intifada." The move comes shortly after UK police arrested 2 people in London on racially aggravated public order charges for allegedly shouting slogans invoking Intifada at a pro-Palestine demonstration. The new restrictions are part of a nationwide policing shift in response to the attack, which has drawn concern from some civil liberties and free speech advocates. So I just don't even know. It's just so incredibly contrived, and people are just like allowing it to be taken for granted that Intifada, like, and saying it and saying globalize the Intifada had anything to do with what happened in Bondi Beach. And it, if anything, it just kind of makes apparent their just like motivations. I guarantee you, the same way that Netanyahu was giddy when October 7th happened, he was elated when the attacks at Bondi Beach happened, because when there's an opening, him and his ilk take it. And it doesn't matter how contrived or how disgusting or how shameless it looks, but they do it. Like, there's just a slogan and pro-Palestine demonstrations and critiquing an Israeli state have absolutely nothing to do with what happened in Australia.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Wait, can we quickly talk about Australia's kind of related their gun laws? Because that I'm really jealous of how they're handling. It's so cool. It's like honestly just so embarrassing and depressing to be an American. So they have like suggested after this, like doing more stuff to restrict their gun laws. And like it doesn't seem to be controversial. It's something that people agree with. And it was, I'm looking up now, in 1996, they had like a mass shooting. And since then, or immediately after that, they introduced like much stronger gun control laws. And that meant that really throughout the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, like their gun violence has gone down considerably. And so like, I think this is the thing, right? Like doing reform on gun control laws doesn't mean that we can totally control the fact that there will sometimes be violence, but it does really help lessen the severity and regularity of it. And it just, yeah, it's so depressing that we can't do that here, that we won't do that here, and that we just like live in a country where like we're kind of waiting to be shot, whereas like in other places in the world, it's like not controversial to respond to this with reform.
I guess I'll say I'm more concerned about the crackdown on free speech and surveillance than I am happy about like the gun thing.
Exclusive.
Well, I'm just, yeah. It's like, I don't know.
Did you not want me to bring it up?
No, I just like, I just don't like, I think it's like both these things are happening in tandem. And I guess I'm just like personally more worried about the other stuff, but yeah, I wish there was more.
We live in a
common
place.
sense.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I'm confused. You don't think that they should do gun reform?
Well, they already have it
Yeah, but they're looking to increase it after this.
based on like,
People
I mean,
getting shot.
I think with it happening in tandem with free speech crackdowns and like it being sold as like, oh, these pro-Palestine people are violent and we need like even more gun control and whatever. Like, I think that's a little scary coming from a state that is clearly gunning after some like pro-Palestine activists.
Wait, what? It's not like they're taking away guns from just pro-Palestine activists. They're looking to do like, for example, like I think limiting the number of guns that each person can have legally, and also having you re-register every 5 years and having to check background checks. Like, it's not like it's going to impact just one segment of the population necessarily.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure what the exact nature of how they do it and talk about it is, but I think that matters. I think that stuff matters.
I guess so, but I just feel like it's kind of like, I don't know, weird to assume like, I don't think that guns equal free speech. Like,
I'm not saying guns equal free speech.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
I don't know why, like, it could be both. It could be simultaneously true that they are cracking down on free speech and that's a problem, but that they're making positive moves with gun reform.
Not if they're making moves with gun reform specifically at the expense of like pro-Palestine people, which again, I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying if these things are happening in tandem and if they are closely linked, I think that's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You have anything else?
No.
I had one. Do I have one other thing? Oh yeah, the Vivek Ramaswamy thing. Kind of shifting gears. Is this the one? So he wrote this piece in the New York Times about Groyperism. It's called "Groyperism Isn't Conservatism; It's Anti-Americanism," and I think the same way that he's trying to make a distinction that these are two different things and that Groyperism is bad and that it's kind of like the extreme.
Refresh people's
right wing.
memory because not everyone knows what Groyperism is.
I think it's just like a term it's a self-identification. It used to be like like in 4chan forums and all this thing. And it's also used to refer to a meme that's used and very popularly on 4chan. And then I think now it just refers to people who have beliefs and whatever downstream of these very extreme right messaging boards. They tend to be very kind of nihilistic and really just, edgy humor that is often got kind of like a violent or just like a very sinister edge to it. Anyway, so I think people are using that to say like, oh, well, there's been a rise of this sort of belief and this sort of way of political expression and communication, especially these people have been especially emboldened to just act outside of messaging forums during the Trump administration. The people they point to are like, Nick Fuentes, he's the one that comes to mind. I'm sure there are others. Sneeko, some of those people. Anyway, so Vivek Ramaswamy ran for president, did not get it, got called too Indian to his face, rejected by the party, was briefly in the Trump administration. You remember that? And then he like left immediately. He was part of Doge. Is that right?
Was he part of Doge? I don't think so.
What was he?
I don't know.
He was like he was like something with someone else. I thought it was Doge.
Really? Let's look.
Maybe it wasn't. What was he in? God, it only happened like a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was Doge, right? And then he left?
But he never worked with Doge. On Inauguration Day, he dropped out.
Okay. Yeah, so he didn't even make it to Inauguration Day. Anyway, so he's kind of like in a position where he's trying to run for governor in Ohio. He thoroughly embarrassed himself and his family, got rejected by what he's saying are groypers, and that these are like an extreme wing of the party and a very vocal minority and not representative of the entire party. Although he did that interview with what's her name, that blonde lady,
Megyn Kelly.
No, not Megyn Kelly.
Oh, I think I forget her name, but this is where she was like,
God, what's her name? I can't think.
For you because you're Indian.
Right. All I know is she went to Dartmouth. Is it Laura something? Anna?
Ann Coulter.
Ann Coulter. Yeah. She's not a groyper. She's been in American media for forever. She's just like a Fox News pundit. And there she is telling him, yeah, no, like you're Indian. Like you're gross and I don't want you to be president. Even though I think you're well-spoken. I like your ideas, whatever. You're just like, you don't have that American essence in you because you're too brown. But he ignores that, tries to say that it's these groypers who knows what they're using to define. But he offers some solutions to, how to stem the tide of things. So I just wanted to read from here kind of before he gets into solutioning. I think this comparison that he makes is kind of funny. The rising sense of economic insecurity conspires with pent-up psychosocial angst. Depression and anxiety are more prevalent among members of Gen Z than in prior American generations. In the absence of a shared national identity, they're turning to tribalism and victimhood instead. Groyperism on the right, Zoran Mamdani-infused socialism on the left. And I'm like, bro, your whole thing here is that you're whining about the fact that you tried to be president of a party that said, get out of here, you're too fucking Indian. And then you're trying to say that in your party, it's just like crazy people, but then you point to the other side and you pick up the other brown guy, the brown guy who was successful at doing the thing that he set out to do. And you're like, fuck this guy. There's so much psychology there.
I like that Indians are getting beat up by the Republican Party. I think it's funny.
Yeah, sure. I don't feel sorry for him at all. It's like you kind of mess with the horns, you get the bull, buddy, or you get the horns. Which one?
They want to be white and they want to reproduce like the caste status and class status they had in the countries that their ancestors migrated from, and it's like, nah.
You want to know my prediction for 2026?
In what?
Just the most amazing American story that's going to happen. Okay. I think next month Erica Kirk is going to tell us she's pregnant. And she's going to say it's Charlie's
but it won't be
baby or like somehow an immaculate
conception
sperm. Like,
I mean, it could have been Charlie's.
No, I mean, she's going to say she's pregnant and that she's giving birth in 6 months.
Okay.
Which means that she got pregnant 1 month after Charlie died.
Uh-huh.
That's my prediction, is that she's going to pass it off as Charlie's baby.
Okay.
try to do, like a sort of Mother Mary type situation with it. Now, we all know it's J.D. Vance's.
Uh-huh.
And we all know that J.D. Vance regrets the constrictions and sealing imposed on him by having married an Indian woman who said to her matchmaker, I want a guy who went to law school, but specifically I want a guy who went to a top 3 law school, but found spirituality, converted to Catholicism when he was 40 years old, and his mom is a fentanyl addict. And then the matchmaker found J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance is just like, didn't know what he was getting, but now regrets marrying Usha. And I think that he will leave her. He'll get with Erica, raise his child, and say that this is part of like a broader spiritual mission sent to him by the Catholic Church to raise the next Messiah. And Usha and Vivek will get married.
Oh, that's cute. I like that for Usha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that this is both a prediction and also filling in past information.
Yeah.
But the Pope is not a fan of like Vance. The Pope is pretty decent.
No, you can tell that anytime he's meeting him, it's out of like
obligation.
Yeah, it's kind of like when your parents force you to hang out with like the cousin that you really don't want to hang out with.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck. Okay, whatever. All right, so he says, what's the solution? We need to imagine a new American dream that delivers economic empowerment while also filling the next generation's hunger for purpose and belonging. To achieve that vision, 4 conditions must be met. So these are necessary conditions. First, conservative leaders should condemn without hedging Groyper transgressions. If like Mr. Fuentes, you believe that Hitler was really effing cool, or you publicly call Usha Vance a Jeet, then you have no place in the conservative movement, period.
Guys, I didn't know
He's
that.
standing up for Usha.
I didn't know that. Is it okay to say it? I don't know. That Jeet was like a ethnic slur. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
I had never heard that before.
And you're a race scientist.
I feel like that's very niche.
Yeah.
Sometimes racists get really niche. They get into like little things.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like coming. He's like, you got to speak up against these Groyper transgressions. It's not okay for people like Usha and no one else. But he says that doesn't mean censorship. It means moral clarity instead of indulgence. On policy debates, blah, 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 blah. He says, my current Democratic appointment is in Ohio is a Jewish woman, and I will criticize her policy record unsparingly, but I will be her most vocal defender against anti-Semitic attacks from left or right. Second, reduce the cost of living. States, okay, I like that. I like how he says that the socialist-infused Mamdani left, and Mamdani's whole thing is like, can we please just have like a more affordable New York? But yes, the second thing in his conditions that must be met for America to be healed is reducing the cost of living. States can deliver quick wins, drive down home prices by eliminating local land use restrictions to increase the housing supplies, reduce property tax burdens by making bloated governments more efficient, reduce electricity bills by speeding up permitting timelines for new power plants and natural gas extraction. So I guess his vision of what reduces costs is just deregulating every industry and being like, okay, things are affordable. Yes, your child does have 3 ears.
I was going to say, let the fish have multiple heads.
Yeah. Your
More
child
to
has
eat.
3 ears and screams every time, Coco Melon is not on TV. But that's whatever. Your house is slightly more affordable, even though it's made out of paper.
I already have so much resentment over like how much more insulating we have to try and do with private dollars from like just how much more insulating we have to try and do with private dollars because like we're not protected environmentally. It's really depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't even really do it adequately. That's the thing, even if you wanted to.
Third, create broad-based participation in wealth generation from stock market gains. In the AI era, it's conceivable to envision a future with stock market outperformance, even in the face of stagnating wages and job losses. That is a formula for social unrest, and shared equity offers a practical solution. If every kid legally born in the United States receives an American dream birthright in the form of $10,000 invested in the S&P 500, every young American will become a millionaire by age 60.
Wait, this is interesting. So this doesn't sound like a typical Republican platform. He wants everyone to automatically be born with stock options?
No, he's saying that you get like an account and then this is their version of trying to
UBI.
do redistributive economics. Instead of actually redistributing anything, they're saying that like, oh, we can actually juice up these companies by investing federal dollars in them, and we'll give people a little cut rather than, which I mean, it's like, this is not all a bad thing.
This is also very interesting. Wait, so I just want to follow a little bit. So it's going to be federal dollars that get invested in private stocks for every citizen who's born? That's the concept? That's wild.
Yeah. It's like a little investment that's made when you're a child.
I mean, that's something, I guess. It would be better if it was in bonds or something, but okay.
Yeah.
No Republican would ever allow for that. They would think that was socialism, right? No one knows what socialism is.
I mean, it kind of is, but it's also like he points specifically to saying in the AI era, he thinks that the U.S. stock market's about to go bonkers instead of. I think that this is like one of those things that people point to. They're like, this is a good policy because it really lets everyone share in the wealth that's created or whatever. And instead of, but it's also like kind of stupid because you're just kind of giving a free loan to these companies depending on how the equity is created and like how it's purchased. Like, is it held by the government or is it essentially, are you just giving a loan to these companies or like buying some sort of option? The smart thing to do would be to just say, the federal government is going to buy up sizable shares in these companies to the point where it can actually like direct the investment and direct like what the company does and more closely regulate it. And regulate it in the national interest of Americans. And then because it owns so much and because all of that gets like mixed into a fund, dividends can be paid out and we just pay out the dividends in cash that people can use when they need it as a benefit rather than just give them some sort of deposit or note or something that can only be used in 20 years, 18 years, whenever like it matures. Like his conception of this redistributive thing is actually kind of trying to do redistribution without actually redistributing anything.
It's still a lot more than the average Republican would do. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I guess so. There's also a chance that AI is just going to tank all of the market.
I was going to say, the stock market might just crash. All right, last one.
This is the third one. Did I have anything else? Yeah. He says the effect would be profound. Instead of lambasting millionaires, they would be on the way to becoming millionaires. Young Americans on the left and right alike would have shared skin in the game to root together for maximal economic growth, a chance to play on the same team again while weaning themselves off the federal welfare state. Fourth, provide America the shared national project we badly need. America has a greater purpose in the world than what we have embodied thus far in the 21st century. Americans of all stripes long to be reminded of it through a modern-day equivalent of the Apollo mission. Perhaps it's establishing a base on the moon to achieve nuclear fusion in a way that powers the creation of artificial intelligence, Jesus Christ, without negative externalities and constraints on Earth. Perhaps it's something else of similar scale and ambition. Such a project could serve as a much-needed catalyst to revive high-quality math and science education in America by elevating standards in public schools, expanding educational choice, and much more. Again, the big contradiction here is like, oh, we want to wean people off of federal programs, but K through 12 in the United States are falling behind because of lack of federal and state funding. Like,
also, I mean, like if he's talking about like a NASA type moon project, that's also federally funded.
Yeah. You know what those kids did in school? They ate.
Right.
They had food.
They had dinner.
And then they had the brain power to think about going to the moon. But now kids are not getting school lunches.
Yeah.
Because you guys want to be richer.
Well, good luck to you, Vivek.
Okay. Anything else? You look like you lost steam.
Don't critique me.
No, I'm just making an observation.
I'm done with Vivek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else?
No.
And you lost steam?
No.
You didn't lose steam?
No. I'm a dumpling.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.